Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Yes, I am just the fangirl, and this is my dual 2020 setup and January plan with me. Without further ado, take it away, actual me!
Alright, let's get into this. As you see, I've got a cover here. It's kind of a sort of a hardbound cover that I made myself just in order to keep everything safe. I covered it in craft paper, did the spine with washi tape, elastic to keep it closed, and with gold marker I wrote down the year 2020. But the best part is on the inside. Why? Because inside I have, of course in the front flaps I have a pocket back in the front, or back in the front. I have a pocket here in the front. In the back cover I have a pocket down here, some sticky notepads to use that I've just glued right on in. And in this little pocket I have this little fella, who I'll explain a little bit more soon. Why? Because this is my homemade Red Book of Westmarch bullet journal. I made this little bullet journal myself using a variety of things. It was back when I was first creating books and learning how to bind my own books. And at the time I didn't think I had the right materials like wood glue and all that stuff for it. So I used craft glue and craft paper. I bought some nice wrinkly craft paper that looked like leather to me. Punched holes in the side and added rings for the spine to keep everything together. And then using gold marker I made not just the star relief on top, but I also wrote in the initials for Bilbo Baggins down at the bottom. And yeah, so let's have a look inside. As you can see here on the inside cover, I have This Book Belongs To. Underneath this is all my actual information, like my contact details and all that, but I want to keep that private. But I do have my actual initials down here at the bottom. And obviously on the opposite side, on the front inside cover, I have a picture of Baggins' door. And then getting into this area, I have on here a quote to begin the year. I think I'm quite ready for another adventure, just like I wrote in my old bullet journal at the very end. And then that moves on into the index. Now, I kind of made a boo-boo with this index. I actually didn't give it enough pages. So at the bottom of it, I wrote continued in the appendices, both because like I said, I ran out of room, I made a mistake, but also because it's a bit of a reference to how The Return of the King ends with an appendices that explains so much more stuff. And those pages are followed by my key pages. And these are two different keys. This one is my keys that have all my denotations for when I'm planning stuff, and it has everything from just events and tasks and what I need to do to all the little things, right down to, of course, my YouTube filming and editing schedule markers. And on the other page is my weather tracker, or my weather tracker keys, so that I can write down every sort of weather that comes around here in the Ozarks. I left this page blank because I don't know if I want to do like another collection at some point, or if I want to do like a quote here, but it's a nice little thing to kind of mark, you know, that we're getting into the actual pages of the bullet journal now. Starting with my calendar. I started with a calendar for 2019. You know, just as a reflection back. And on the next page, we're going into the 2020 stuff with my mood tracker. I did the year in pixels last time, and so I just recreated the same page with all you have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to you quote, and then I just decided to do the year in pixels again, like I said, with all these markers, just or color keys, just to denote the various moods that I'd be feeling. I did add one though. I did add one thing to add in here. I put tired as an emotion, because sometimes I'm not mad, or I'm not happy, or I'm not content. I'm not even really that, you know, sad or anything else. I'm just, oh gosh, I'm so tired. And that can be a mood in of itself. So yeah, I threw that in. Next, a reading tracker again. I do want to read more books in 2020, so hopefully I can fill this one, unlike my last one. with some good titles, or at least put in titles that I'd started in 2019 and move them into 2020. Another quote page. It's a job that's never started, it takes the longest to finish. Just to kind of help keep me motivated to finish my tasks and get things done. And then on the next I have kind of a dual page. I have a series tracker of all the shows and seasons and series that I want to watch in 2020. I want to catch up on Hannibal and give that a try again, because I did try it, didn't quite like it, but you know, maybe I just didn't give it the benefit of the doubt, or maybe I'm too married to the original Hannibal Lecter film series with Anthony Hopkins and all that, but I am going to try it again. Don't come for me, Fannibals. But there's also the new series, like the Lord of the Rings one, obviously, and then the reboot of Animaniacs that I want to check out. And that goes on to the next page, that with the Hawkeye TV series coming up on Disney+. As well as movies I want to see in 2020, including Wonder Woman 84, the remake of The Witches, and of course Birds of Prey. If more movies come up during that year, I will of course write them in on the film reels. Then on this side I have my weight tracker, because as you saw last time, I gained a lot of weight last year. And I'd like to get rid of that weight. So hopefully this year, with eating better and maybe trying to get in some more exercise and other things, I will get that down. And now this way I can keep a track of it. Last time I did, I just weighed and I wrote my stuff into little drawings of, little doodles of scales. This time I'm actually going to do it on a kind of graph style. But of course I did add in a nod to the fact that this is weighing, because look, little pile of gold against a little pile of silver in a pair of scales. And as you've no doubt noticed, a lot of these pages are written in the Hobbiton script, or Bilbo's script. So just keep an eye on that and know that that's what's going to be happening a lot. And the next page goes here with another quote. Go back, no good at all. Go sideways, impossible. Go forward, only thing to do, on we go. That's one of my favorite quotes, and of course we all know it as the thing Bilbo says before he goes down to face Smaug the dragon. And speaking of Mr. Baggins, now we get to this, and a brief explanation of this guy. I did not draw these, obviously. I did not make these, obviously. These are things I got on Etsy. I tried my best to find the Etsy artist who made this. They were amazing and wonderful, and they even gave me a little thank you card, but I cannot find their store. Otherwise, I would gladly and happily link you to them. I can't even remember their name. I can't find their thank you card. It got lost in the shuffle of my move. But I did keep this, as well as its companion bookmark in the back of Thorin Oakenshield, and I just love these. I love them to pieces. Thorin even came with his own little card of artwork and doodles that you'll see eventually. But I just can't find that artist, and it makes me so sad. So if anybody out there also got stuff from this artist, please tell me. I will gladly edit my box down below with their info, so that if they are still selling things, I can link you. And if they're not, I can at least link a page where you can contact them about some artwork, because they deserve so much credit. I mean, just look at these. Look at this stuff. It's adorable. It's so cute. Anyway, I didn't do anything to the card except put it in like a plastic sleeve. I just, again, I just got like glue tape and a Ziploc bag. I cut the Ziploc bag apart, stapled some holes in it, made it big enough to fit this card, and I just put this in there. I didn't want to ruin it. And on the other side, this card I did make with another quote of "Home is behind and the world ahead." And that leads into the 2020 calendar, the actual year at a glance. And that's, of course, the setup pages, just to lead into January planning. And as far as my January planning goes, I have a couple of things. Every month is going to be set up similar to this. But essentially, I have on one page, I try and start with goals, events, and highlights. For major events that are coming up that I need to keep in mind throughout, I put them here in this block. In this one, I have goals that I want to achieve. I put not just January goals, but also yearly goals here. Like, I want to focus on paying off my car. I want to focus on paying off also my student loan and my credit card. So I essentially want to lower my debts. And then I want to begin a savings tracker this year. That's a thing I want to start in January and keep going. So yeah, I wrote some year goals that I just want to focus on at the beginning and keep on throughout until I meet them or until I'm at a point where I'm okay with them. And of course, at the end of the month, I'll come back to this page and put the highlights of the month as a memory keeping page. And then on the theme page that I like to call, I have again the door of Bag End, and I have a little calendar down at the bottom with the days numbered in gold. And on top of the door, I have a bell. I know technically Bag End does not have a doorbell, or at least not one we see in the movies. But I remember in the book, Bilbo said, I'm tired of all my relatives hanging on the bell all day, so why not ring in the new year with the doorbell to Bag End? And on the other side I have a quote. It doesn't technically match the theme, but I thought it was a nice quote and I wanted to have it in here. And this is from the Silmarillion. Their magic is art delivered from many of its human limitations. And over here we have, and I'm going to turn my notebook this way, the calendar. The calendar has an overview of everything that's going on. And of course I have, again, Bilbo's script up here with the drop shadow in gold and some little doorbells doodled up at the top here and down at the bottom. Now let's turn it back this way and have a look at roughly the first week of 2020. Yeah, and this is pretty much the same configuration I've got for the whole of January, so we're going to flip to the very end where I have another quote that says, even the smallest person could change the course of the future. I have here my, turning the book again, January expense tracker. This is essentially my budget. And every month, again, is going to have this kind of configuration where I'll have the date. In the middle, I'll write down where money is spent. In the case of income, I'll write down where the money came from and how much it was. With bills, I'm going to write down the date, what the bill was, and how much was spent on it. That should be fairly static for a few months at least. Same with the income. And then with extra expenses, this is where the things get interesting. I write down date, small description of where we spent, and then how much of it we spent. And then I got 2 columns just in case it runs over. Moving on the next page, I have here my habits tracker for January and on through the year. I thought it was a clever play on the phrase. So instead of concerning hobbits, it's concerning habits. And I'm doing that the whole year round, for obvious reasons. And for this one, instead of doing doorbells, I just decided to draw, obviously, a little wheat pipe, an acorn, a couple of flowers, because hobbity aesthetic. And then my habits that I want to get better at. I want to keep getting up at 7 a.m. or earlier, depending on what my jobs are. I want to be able to tidy the bed every morning. I want to fit in yoga and running. I want to keep my teeth nice and healthy. I want to get back to drinking more water. I don't drink enough, and I admit that. As well as reading. I originally wrote 1 hour, but I just want to be able to read. I want to be able to read books, even if it's for like 30 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. I want to spend more time in devotion because, little newsflash, I am a Christian. But I don't like to smush it or rub it in anybody's faces. But I do want to grow in my faith and get stronger in my faith. And to do that, part of doing that is spending time reading the Bible, praying, just spending time in quiet thought and meditation with God. So, yeah, I want to take some time with that. And then at the bottom, no spending, which means not spending any money at all. It just means, not spending on, random junk. Like, if I go to the grocery store, I don't want to make an impulse purchase. Or if I'm at Walmart and I'm specifically there, like, I don't know, for shampoo or some junk like that, I don't want to end up like, oh, that thing looks cute, I'm just going to grab it and then throw it in my stationery drawer and not deal with it ever again. I don't want to do that anymore. So, yeah, that's going to just curb my any reckless and, frivolous spending. And then, of course, here I have on the next page, I have my period tracker, which I have titled for 2020, The Red Tide of Battle. And as you can see here, I've got it numbered and boxed in, decorated with some washi tape. and drawings of various weapons from the Lord of the Rings. Let me just pull this down a bit so you can see. I've got Thorin's sword, Orcrist here. I've got Sting. Sting is my favorite. And over on this side, I have one of Gimli / Glowing's axes. I think this is the walking axe. And I just loved the weapon design. It's so beautiful and artistic in those movies. They were just so lovely. And I just loved and adored the fact that they used traditional smithing for all those weapons instead of, you know, mass-produced and junk, you know? But, anyway, along with this, I've also got, you know, a little key down here to track when my period is very light, when it is medium, or when I'm having it heavy. So, yeah, there's that. And with that, again, we're heading to the back of the book. Remember when I said there was appendices? Here it is, all laid out and ready to go. In fact, it'll be ongoing because I've actually got a few more pages to show you in preparation. The appendices, as you can see, I've filled it out with when certain things are. Why? Because I love to overplan, and hence why I have all the tabs already made for each month of the year. So if you came here hoping to learn how to draw all the things that I've made this year, sorry! You'll have to wait for future videos for that. But yes, there's my appendices, which might grow a little more.
This is my savings tracker right here.
And then here is where I will do a daily log. Then of course we get to the end of the book where we have my final quote for when I get to the end eventually. Of I wish you all a very fond farewell, which is another drawing of Bag End, the door of Bag End, of which I adore, as well as the ring over top of that. I have a little pocket space here where I normally like to keep Thorin until I need him for page keeping purposes. But on this envelope, on this little pocket here, I have, of course, what have I got in my pocket? And this is just where I could stick like stickers or Thorin or something else in the future. I also made a little dashboard here in the back with, you know, sticky tabs. Little skinny post-it notes and longer post-it notes for when I need to make a mark or make a page mark, or if I want to like make a note, just stick it somewhere and then just be able to rip it off and put it away. And back here I have a little pocket where I have a couple of bookmarks. I have one bookmark that I made with some Patreon rewards stickers, but I don't have permission to show those to you, so because they were Patreon rewards. So I'll show you just these two that I made. This one is my Bilbo Baggins bookmark, and this one is my Arwen bookmark. And I drew these ages and ages ago, but I was super happy with them, and I loved them. And so I've kept them all this time. And there we go. Take it away, little me.
And thank you, actual me. So, the reason I decided to make a Red Book of Westmarch bullet journal is because I just love the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings, the Silmarillion, all of the works of Tolkien so much. His way of writing to some may seem kind of rambly, or like there's too many run-on sentences, or like it's just all over the place, but to me it's beautiful, it's magnificent, it's evocative, and it conjures up marvelous imagery. There are reasons why Tolkien is considered one of the forefathers of modern fantasy, and it's primarily due to how much time he spent building the world of Middle-earth. And it's so grounded in not just his own imagination, but in English history and lore and myth that he spent years researching. And it's a magnificent combination of history mingled with one person's fantastical images and imaginings, and it feels stronger and more real than a lot of fantasy books. It feels more deeply ingrained into the spirit and the mind and the soul of the reader. It feels like going home to something that you know in your mind and heart you never went to, but that you wish you had. And it's just a lovely story. It's just a lovely story of ordinary people being thrown into something that they never expected. And in the case of Bilbo Baggins, yes, he goes into something that is both amazing and terrifying and horrible at many points, but in the end, he goes home and he's just happy to be there. He's changed, but he's happy to be there. And then in The Lord of the Rings, it shows something a little bit different. It shows that some people can experience the similar circumstances or similar problems, or go through even greater, more grand changes and stories, and it just that sometimes you may not come back the same. You may not come back the same. And sometimes you can't go home again. But that doesn't mean that you can't find something wonderful and good in this world. There's still something that you can hold on to, and something that can give you hope. Anyway, that's my schmaltzy spiel on how I feel about these books. And that doesn't really explain why I made it into a whole year's theme, but hopefully as the year progresses you'll understand. You'll see through my artwork, because this was also an artistic journey for me when I was planning this out. So, as we come to the end here, I will simply ask that you please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this channel or this video. Make sure to let me know if you want to see other things, and yeah. Toodles, everyone.